Hey Revit, it's Naima. If you are watching this YouTube video, it means that I am running late to class, and you guys have about 20 to 30 minutes to watch this little tutorial before I come into the classroom. Unfortunately, I'm working on my tiny little laptop at home, so I don't have the big screens that we typically have in the lab, but I think you'll be able to follow along just fine. So before I get too far, I want to let you guys know where I am and where I'm going. I am in level 1, or the first floor plan, in a residential template, and the dimensions of this little box is somewhat close to the dimensions of what you guys have created on your tiny house. So for your exercise, when you're ready to, you'll be opening up your tiny house and meeting me at the first floor. Unfortunately, I have an older version on my laptop, and I guess my computer heard that it's a holiday because it's not letting me open up Revit and my typical screen share program. So I'm improvising this evening. So where we're going with this, once we have our first floor plan, I am going to show you guys where your floor plan exists right now on a sheet, and then how you can edit that sheet in order for it to work in our classroom. So remember, all of your floor plans and views are here, and if you scroll down to the very bottom, in the residential template, you'll see sheets. If you use an architectural template, you won't see this plus sign right here. This plus sign is pretty important. Right now, it looks like I don't have any sheets, but if I hit this plus sign, then I can expand that menu and I can see all of the sheets that exist. So over here, I've got the A1 floor plan. And if I double click on that, you'll see that Revit went ahead and automatically put the first floor plan on here for me. I've also got a second floor plan, a basement plan. I've got some elevations. Those haven't been set up yet, it looks like. But for now, I'm going to hang out on this first floor plan and how you can edit these just a little bit. What we're looking at right here, if I click on the screen, you'll notice that it kind of selects a rectangle around my first floor. If you've taken AutoCAD before, this next term will be familiar. It's called a viewport. You can see it kind of coming, you can see it flashing on my screen. I think you should see it right now. So this right here is a viewport. It means that you took a view from up here in your floor plans, and you essentially dragged and dropped it onto the sheet right here. Now again, because Revit pre-made these sheets for us, we didn't need to drag and drop anything. It was pre-made for us. The other component that we see on the sheet, I click right here, this is our actual sheet title block. So coming over here to my properties, you can see that by default, it gives us a 22 by 34 horizontal sheet. It's the first floor plan, that's the name, and the sheet number is A1. Now, this information here, the sheet name and the sheet number, it corresponds to this information down here. So I'm pretty sure in our project, we called this main level. And just like we changed our elevation markers and even our dimensions, again, I click on it once to activate it, click on it again, and it's ready to edit. And remember, I'm just typing in here. I'm not hitting backspace. I'm not putting my cursor in there. It's ready to go. So first, make sure that your sheet name matches whatever you have named your view. So mine is still first floor right here. You can tell my viewport. It even gives me this little something right here called a title block, or I'm sorry, a viewport name, and that's the first floor. If I come all the way back up here to my first floor plan, okay, there we are again. If I come through and rename this, I don't think we've done it this way before, so I right-clicked and I went to rename. Let me do it a way that's more familiar. You can do it the way I just showed as well. If we go to our elevations, I can rename first floor, main level, And we're going to see it change several places. So first, over here on my floor plans, I now have a main level. And now on my sheet, it is also the main level here as well, where it used to be first floor. So I want to make sure that we're consistent with all of those things. Let's say you didn't have anything here. I'm going to go ahead and click and hit delete. So I'm going to undo that. I click to make sure I have my viewport selected, and then I just hit the delete key. It's gone. Let's say you have a blank sheet like this. Maybe you're creating a new sheet. Maybe you use the architectural template and you don't have anything to put on here. I come back up to my views and I drag main level. So I'm dragging, which means I'm pressing my right finger down on my mouse. I'm not letting go. But once I get over to my sheet, I let go and I can start to see a preview of where it's going to drop. Once I get it into position, I click, and that's what it looks like on my sheet. Okay. Now let me explain a little bit about what we're looking at here. These are our exterior elevation markers. And right now they're blank. They kind of look like little houses flipped all over the screen. We're not using those quite yet, but what I would like to do, we have all of this empty real estate around the house right now. So what I'd like you to do is pause the video right now, make sure that all of your levels are created or named the same thing, so everything corresponds. So that would be on your sheet, on your view title, and then also on your floor plan. Make sure those line up, and then after that, once you get to that point, go ahead and come back to this video, and I'm going to explain a little bit more. All right, welcome back. So for this next part, I'm going to go back to the main level. I double clicked on it in our views. We were just down here on our main level sheet, but now I'm back up here on the actual main level. So for this next part, what I'd like to do is clean up that viewport a little bit, because again, by default, it gives us this really big view. We can actually control what we see on the sheet and what we don't see on the sheet. So for example, all of this stuff right here, these exterior elevation markers, I can crop them out of the view. Another thing I can do, I'm just going into the wall command. I'm just going to draw a couple random walls out here. Again, people, master's degree. Okay, so I've got some random walls over here. What I'd like to do is in your properties menu, I want you to scroll down until you see something called extents. Now by default, you'll see that crop view and crop region visible will not have a check mark next to it. The first thing that I'd like you to do is click on crop region visible, and you'll see that by default, it turns on crop view. Now it looks like nothing happened. It could just be because my laptop is slow. It's slow. There we go. Do you guys see that now I have this new rectangle on my screen that wasn't there before? So it's not a rectangle that I just sketched, but this is my crop region. So if I deselect this now and hit apply, that goes away. And it's okay to keep crop view on for now. So again, the way that I got here, the first thing that you have to do is you have to be in your main level under floor plans, not your sheet, and then come up to properties and scroll down and remember to turn on crop region visible. So what we can do now is click on this rectangle, and if I grab these little grip points, just like we've been doing with walls, maybe dimensions, but these are our grip points. When I highlight it, it says control. I like having control. I can click and drag it closer to the walls, and now I've kind of isolated things from my viewport. So let me do this. We're going to keep everything on like this. Let me go to my sheet and I'm going to show you what it looks like. So now it's been cropped down. Earlier, first we didn't see this viewport. Just so you guys know, I don't like seeing, we saw the viewport, we didn't see the crop view box around it. I don't like keeping crop view boxes around. I think it looks a little bit messy. But here's what happens if we go back to the main level and we turn off crop view. So now if crop view is off, everything is showing again. I hope you're starting to see that what you see here in your floor plan is also what you'll see here on your sheet. Okay, so now everything came back. So this is a really awkward view. We've got a crop region on, but it hasn't been activated. So it just looks really awkward. It's starting to look like those 80s or 90s things that are coming back in style. By things, I mean designs. Sorry guys, it's late. So I'm going to come back to my main level, and let's do this correctly. First, let's turn on crop view. That looks good. And then secondly, I don't want the crop region to be visible. The only time I want the crop region to be visible is when I'm actually working with it and kind of stretching it and pulling it to make sure the right thing is activated. So again, where you want to end before you print is crop view, but crop region visible is off. Now let's go back to our sheet, and I'm going to show you one other thing. So now we've got our main level, and here's the thing that's really awkward. I've got my view here, right? There's my main level, but my title is all the way down here. It kind of drives me insane. What I like to do is I am actually going to grab this view and delete it. That's it. So I clicked on it and I hit delete. Now it doesn't delete the main level. There was no warnings. It's not like, oh my gosh, the main level is gone. It just means that I can't see it on that sheet anymore. Okay. So remember, at any point you can pause this lecture and go back a couple steps, a couple seconds. What I'm going to do now, the reason why I deleted it is now if I drag and drop it, see where that view title went? It's nice and pretty much perfectly aligned with my viewport. I don't like messing with the view titles. I'm going to show you why in just a second. If you want to move the actual title, I'll show you how to do it. So first, let me show you how to move the viewport. Just click on the viewport. Those four-sided arrows come over, and I can move this anywhere. Typically, it's the bottom right-hand corner or the top right-hand corner that we start. But this is usually the way to start a sheet set. Why all the way down here and not centered? Well, think about if you were actually leafing through a sheet set. If you had papers in your hands, your thumb is usually right here as you leaf through them. So this is the first thing people are going to see. I digress. Let's come back over here. So again, to move your viewport, you click on it. You can see it's activated. We've got the rectangle around it again. You can even see that the viewport line is highlighted. And again, I can move it. If I want to move the view title line, I click on the view title line without the viewport being selected. Do you see how they move independently of one another? So again, if I click on the viewport, they're both moving together. If I click off of this, so nothing's selected now, or hit escape, either one, now I can click on the view title and move that separately. So let's say I want to move it really, really close. Now check this out. I've got like this kind of straggler line here. Since I moved this up and to the right, I've got a little bit of length right there. So to move that line, coming back to the viewport, do you see that when I click on the viewport, I've got these points that I can drag? Crazy, right? Not totally intuitive. You just have to remember what it is you're trying to do. So again, from the top, to move a viewport, you click on it. You can tell it's activated because it has the viewport region around it and the view title selected. You can also see your cursor. It's got the four-sided arrow. It's ready for you to move it. So really, this was a simple click. To deselect it, you just come out. You can see your mouse changes and click off of it. Now that it's deselected, I can come and click the view title on its own and move that. Okay, to deselect, I just come off, click off to the side or anywhere that's not on the viewport, or hit escape. The last thing that I wanted to show you is if I click on the view title, I've got these grip points that come up. You can make it really small, or you can make it the length of your drawing. Either one. So what I'd like you guys to do, while you're waiting for me to come to class, I could be there by now, I don't know, but I'd like you guys to first come to your main level, go to your extents in your properties bar, make sure your crop region is just tight around your floor plan, turn off crop region visible, head back to your sheet, and then from your sheet, what you're going to do is most likely delete the view so you don't have to be all crazy trying to get it back, get the view title worked out. Or if you want, you can grab the view title, just like I showed you earlier. Just click the view title, not the viewport, and you can move it around and get that back into place. And then again, I would like your drawing. Don't center it for now. Let's put it near the bottom right-hand corner. One thing that I didn't mention is the scale of the drawing. Excuse me. When your view is selected, you can actually look at the properties bar and I go back up to the top. Do you see that my view scale is set at 1/4? And you can see here, 1/4 inch. I can come here and change it to 1/8 and it shrinks it down. I can click on it again and take it up to 1/2. Excuse me. So I do have to select it every time. Find what scale you think works best for you on this sheet. Please don't go bigger than 1/2 inch and don't go smaller than 1/8 inch. 1/4 inch is a good place for us to be. Even 1/2 inch starts to get into what's called an enlarged plan. But if you just wanted to play with it and then kind of move it back down to 1/4 inch, that's really what we're looking for this example. So play with that too. And then save your sheet. I should mention, we're going to call this I for interior design. We're going to ignore the D in interior design. And the reason why is because a D designation means demolition. So we don't want to demolish all of these sheets. So excuse me, so interior 101. That's what we'll save it. We'll keep it right here for now. And then we will lay out your elevation sheets as well, just to get some practice with that. And then the last thing we'll do is talk about PDF printers, both in the lab and at home. And then we'll go ahead and print some of these sheets the correct way. All right, thanks everybody. I'll see you guys in just a few minutes. Before you get too far, don't forget our favorite shortcut, Control S to save your project. See you soon.